I don't own this company. It works. It was the only thing that solved my back problem.
Well, how'd you end up down here?
For me, it was my lower spine, disc degeneration, maybe a little bit of onset of arthritis.
You know, disc degeneration backs, like that's what we're known for. We do so many of them. And back surgery isn't the answer. No, at least it wasn't for me.
And I've heard nothing but horror stories. I was doing a lot of physical therapy, which was helping a little bit, but the problem is it's not going to grow my spine back. And then, of course, I came here, went over the MRIs now 6 months later, and she was saying it was phenomenal results. Normally it takes a year to see such results. I feel it. Like I am over 80% better now, for sure.
CPI Podcast. I'm here with Brando Eaton. What's up, Brando? Great to have you back down.
Good to be back. Good to be back. I come with my bling bling.
You're blinging it out today.
Yeah.
Some people got a nice watch and you got a catheter in.
Yes.
That's what happens when we pull you right off the floor to see how you're doing.
No, you guys are, I'm all for it. Let's just keep things going.
Yeah.
Health and fun. And we just had good steaks last night. Yeah. Let's just keep on.
The food down here is ridiculous, right?
It's amazing. Yeah.
I tell people all the time, there's no need to go to San Diego or anything LA to eat when you're in Tijuana because there's just so many good restaurants.
No.
And like you can walk to all of them right from the hotel.
It's true. I mean, when I first heard Tijuana, coming from, I'm born and raised in Los Angeles and I'd never been down here. So it's like, Tijuana? What? Beautiful restaurants. I mean, you have a beautiful place right here on the beach, the view over the water. Like, it's not too bad. It's not too bad.
It's not,
No.
People ask me all the time, like, how do you like Tijuana? I'm like, Tijuana's great. The cheap. It's not like that. It's definitely not dangerous like people think it is. Like you probably haven't seen one homeless person the whole time you're here.
I haven't seen anything.
I mean, you not probably like when you go to like Cancun or Tulum every 5 minutes, people are trying to sell you drugs.
Right.
I think Tulum is sketchier than Tijuana, as a matter of fact.
From my little experience, I've been to both. You're absolutely right. I was actually shocked getting out of the car in Tulum and just inundated with buy drugs, buy hookers, buy drugs. I'm like, where am I?
Yeah. And I was just down in Colombia at Medellin and like everyone's like, take your watch off. Even like, I mean, this is like a cheap stainless chain. They're like, you got to take that off, and I'm like, right. I have to take my Oura ring off too, like, wow, keep your cell phone in your front pocket. Like, none of that down here in Tijuana. So
not that I've seen.
Yeah. Well, how'd you end up down here?
Well, for me, it was my lower spine, disc degeneration, maybe a little bit of onset of arthritis. But they said, it's just from years of wear and tear. And we can get into some of those details, but there wasn't one main injury. It was just, from the acting stuff, I was always trying to do my own stunts and I'd sometimes get beat up. And then my fight background, training in that and weightlifting and just years of wear and tear. And it just started really creeping up on me. I would always have little issues that just over the years, it happens so slowly, you get used to it. And it's funny, I was recently thinking of that because I'm so much better now. I was thinking back, it's hard to, it's like, wow, no, I was really like not able to put on my socks some days. And to think of just how you start to live like that, it's kind of normal, finding that weird position, that weird way to get it on and all that in the morning. And then I was like, wow, I don't have to do any of that anymore. It's just weird it becomes normalized and it's like, no, we can fix this.
And back surgery isn't the answer. No, at least it wasn't for me.
No, I was terrified. I did not want to do anything like that. And I've heard nothing but horror stories and, no, that was not an answer. I was doing a lot of physical therapy, which was helping a little bit, but the problem is it's not going to grow my spine back. It's going to help the muscles around it and help me deal with it, which it was helping. I did acupuncture, chiropractic. I did all that sort of stuff. And honestly, like I would sometimes get a little bit of a relief, but nothing was fixing it. And then, of course, I came here and you guys did the MRIs. So we were able to see the degeneration, the bulging discs. There were like 2 of them. And so we see the problems. And we actually literally just today went over the MRIs now 6 months later. And she was saying it was like phenomenal results. Even comparatively, normally it takes a year because the stem cells are living for a year to see such results. But the disc you can visually see that it's way less bulged. And then the inner parts are way more hydrated, like lighter. And so it's definitely working. And then I feel it. Like I am over 80% better now, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, disc degeneration backs, like that's what we're known for. We do so many of them. I got 17 new patients here. I don't know if you've ran into any of those people.
We have like, I joke. I'm like, I'm your best salesman now. Like I have like 10 friends here right now. Like, everyone's been, I'm very outspoken. When I get obsessed with something, people like make fun of me because I become really obsessive. And with you guys, I always tell Adam, like, I'm your number one fan, like, especially because it's working and it's changed my life so much. I just want to tell everybody. So anytime everybody like, oh, my shoulder, this or that, what about stem cells? Like, you got to try it. These guys are amazing. Like, I'm really big on that. I'm a weirdo.
Yeah. Well, we certainly appreciate it. You know, a large portion of our business, of course, is, you know, referrals. And that's, you know, that's great. I think everybody that I met that's on your group this week is doing great. You know? And that's not always, you know, but
yeah, I mean, sure
we do have week after week frequently where I think we have 32 returning patients and all 32 of them are like, I'm doing great. You know, so that's going to be really great data for us when we publish. And I don't know exactly what percentage, you know, where it's going to be, but it's going to be a really high percentage, you know, especially around disc injections, way higher than surgeries, you know.
Yes.
So when I got my surgery, they're like, oh, you're probably going to need another one in 5 to 10 years. You know, it's like, well, you take care of your back for this next year. You know, you won't be a repeat customer unless you have another traumatic injury or something like that.
Yeah.
So it might not be the best business model, but having so many people get great results does mean we get a lot of business from referrals.
Of course. And I'm actually really against, I've just heard so many horror stories with the surgeries, and I can go into my background, not with surgeries, but I mean, my mom, I grew up, I guess we can get into some personal details here, but single mother, you know, only child, and my mom's physically handicapped. All her bones were fused together from arthritis as a kid, but it was the medical field that really screwed her. All the surgeries messed her up. Everything that they were doing made it worse. And so now she probably has 5% mobility of a normal person. So I grew up, you know, her raising me and me taking care of her. And I saw the effects constantly of how the surgery screwed her up. And you know, it's part of life, and she's used to living like that now. And so luckily she's doing well in that regard. But I mean, her health's not great. And most of it, yes, a lot of it was not understanding arthritis when in that year. You know, she's in her 60s now. So they did all the opposite things, but the surgeries as well did not help. And so I always saw that and was always like scared of it from that point of view. And then a bunch of friends of mine in sports and this and that, oh yeah, I got my knee done, or they did the wrong knee, like, you know, all these things. And I was like, I'm not going to get surgery. And so I was just living with it and just got used to living. You know, I'm lucky. Listen, I'm lucky. Like, it could be way worse. It was some disc bulging and degeneration, but I was able to live my life. It would just, you know, wasn't able to work out legs, as you know, things like that. But now there's a fix. And at least for me, I know you can't guarantee anything, but you know, it may sound like, you know, from him, it may sound like a commercial, but from me, I don't own this company and it works. Like, it's not snake oil, because people would write me like, is it snake oil or like this and that? Like, oh, I'm like, no, it was the only thing that solved my back problem. So,
you know, a lot of people, you know, think, oh, you guys only do famous people. You only do high level athletes, but
no,
you know, go look in the room there. It's like 99% are just normal people. That, you know, again, disc injections, the most common thing that we treat. We do more of them than anybody in the world that we know of. And, you know, it works really good.
Well, saving lives.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Thank you.
We're doing our best. Yeah. Especially now we got cancer reopened.
Yes.
And what we got going on with that is just, you know, next level, the newest technology.
It's amazing.
With all the genetic testing that we have going on. Are you, Richie, you're going to get the genetic test this week, right?
I didn't even plan on it, but yeah, I definitely plan on doing it eventually.
Oh, you should, man. My report's like 30 something pages long, and it's wild. You know what I mean? It tells you like DNA level, like how you are, like which vitamins I should be taking, which ones I shouldn't be taking, you know, which specific pharmaceutical drugs are bad. You know, it's just
yeah, I definitely want to do that. And to hear, are we allowed to talk about how you use that for the cancer stuff?
Yeah, go ahead, of course.
But I think that's I find all this stuff fascinating. Like, even stem cells, it's funny. Like, about 15 years ago, I wanted to get into stem cells. I was like, I wonder if I can make meat out of this. And I was talking to actually some guys who own a stem cell clinic in another country. I'm not plugging them. No.
But if they're a good stem cell company, great.
No.
It's the scam ones these days that
that's true. We talked about that. We talked
Yeah.
about that too. And I actually have to, well, next subject. Let's get to that next because I've gotten a lot of messages about that. And a lot of people are like, oh, I got stem cells in the States. And now I'm educated enough to talk about it where I'm like, whoa, not the same thing. Like that's like probably less than 1,000 times as effective as what you guys are doing here. But with the cancer stuff, anyway, I've been very fascinated about this stuff. I wanted to open something, maybe even create meat out of stem cells. I know that's like a controversial thing now, but 15 years ago, no one had I was like, this is a good idea. And then I was like, no, I don't want to go up against, big meat and big pharma. I'm taking that. I was like, screw that. But anyway, and so, first of all, the strides that you guys have made and the breakthroughs that you guys have made in these spaces, and then to hear about what you're doing with the cancer stuff, utilizing these like gene breakdowns and pinpointing, what's going on with the cancer, and then kind of putting together a sort of vaccine or a fighting force against that specific one for that patient. Like, man, it's amazing. I feel like it's
as personalized the medicine as you could get.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that was brought to our attention, especially to Ed, he's so smart with all this stuff, was how many people are misdiagnosed. And so you'd think you're treating for one thing when you're not. You're treating for the wrong thing. And that's why with all the PhDs that we work with and stuff, we said, well, if we're really going to make a difference for cancer patients, it has to start with understanding their cancer. Mm-hmm. Like what is actually going on. And then Ed started recruiting like all of these top geneticists and people and said, how do we create the best testing? Because we can't have the best personalized medicine to treat that patient if we don't know exactly what's going on with the patient.
Right.
So it's like you call the car shop up, you're like, my car's broken down, and they're already telling you how you're going to fix it when they haven't even opened the hood.
Right.
It's like, how's that going to work?
Yeah. And I've known Ed and yourself for years now, and what I really commend you guys, like it really touches my heart, no joke, because I've seen so many horrors in the medical field, and especially from my mother and whatnot, and also to see all these giant organizations in America, these giant cancer clinics, these giant cancer nonprofits, and all that stuff. And I swear, you guys, with a fraction of the budget and a fraction of the time, have made way bigger strides than anyone else that I've personally heard about or read about or known about. You guys, one, really care about it. I'm just here plugging you guys right now, but it's true. No, honestly, like you guys are good friends of mine. I've known Ed for years, and he's really near and dear to my heart. And I know where his heart's at. I know he really cares. I know you really care. And so you guys really care about the issue. You're investing your own time, money, health into actually doing something about it. And do you know how many, coming from Hollywood and the acting world and blah, 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 how many charities I've been to and how many nonprofits I've worked with and organizations that I've seen. And I'm just like, it took the wind out of my sails so many times because I can just tell you don't give a F about this, or you're just spinning wheels or here for the accolades or the tax write-offs or whatever. But you guys have really literally put your blood and sweat and tears into building this and building a team that's top notch with a fraction of the budget. And I see the strides you guys are making. And that's why I want to help you guys any way that I can. And again, I get more messages about the cancer stuff actually when I put out some of these videos, just on my Instagram of like, hey, I'm here at CPI. And so many people know someone with cancer or that currently has it. And I get a lot of messages about that, more so than probably the stem cells. And now that you guys have that open, I think that's amazing. And I know how much more effective you guys are than what's normal in the States. And so I'm throwing everyone your guys' way.
Our cancer is the hardest one, and cancer rates are soaring right now. And it seems like younger and younger people. But the good thing is that people seem to be a lot more open and they want to know more about their health, So TAM Center, what we're doing at TAM Center, the cancer program, it's all on Ed, right? He had this vision, he had this idea, he started digesting the papers and then reaching out to all these PhDs And they're like, no one reads my papers. You know, he's like, I read all of them. And, you know, you talk about a fraction of the budget. We're just blessed that we have these super high level people. They're not here for the dollar. They're here for the vision, right? They're like, oh, you know, I see, you don't want me just to create a bunch more research that you could patent or something and sell. You want me to help patients actually get better. And most of these PhDs that we work with, that I talk to and stuff like that, they're just like us. Like, you know, their passion for it is because they lost a loved one to cancer. Who hasn't these days? You know, who hasn't? You know,
Seriously.
find me. You go in any room, raise your hand if you've lost a loved one to cancer, and every hand will go up, if not both hands.
Yeah, seriously.
You know, so you know, it's something that we're really proud of, and it's great to finally have all the right people together and to be able to you know, put it into action. And, you know, at first we got very little support from the big companies and stuff.
Sure.
But now that we have these super high level PhDs that they have experience working with, and they say, no, you need to come down to TJ and see, you know, and then you also get TJ, right? They're doing it in TJ, you know, like, is it safe for me to go there? You know,
Right.
But now, you know, we're getting some horsepower behind that and some respect from that. And I'm super excited. Super excited for it.
I'm excited for you guys. Yeah. I'm happy to be here.
And if we can, you know, cancer is the hardest one of them all. Unfortunately, it usually either works amazing, you know, or it doesn't work at all. But the only way to know is to find out. But really, I think now that we're going to have so much more, the patient will be able to have so much more information about what's really going on with their body to act on it.
Yeah.
Whereas before, you know, you just got a biopsy. Yep, it's cancer. Right. We think it's this.
This
is what we always do.
Luck.
You know, and you know, people want to be educated more than ever, and the education is now so much easier to get. And one thing for us is like, you know, if we diagnose somebody and we say, you know, we're not your best option, we're going to tell them, you need to go to Germany, you need to go to Japan, you need to go to this clinic, you need to go do this treatment. Good. And you know, I think that's going to make a big difference. It's going to make a big ripple, right? Because it's not just the patient, it's the people around them.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's fantastic. It's beautiful to see what you guys are doing.
Yeah. Now we can talk about scam clinics.
Talk about what?
Oh, these scammers. Oh my God, man. I see these ads on Instagram and I'm just like, you're just blatantly misrepresenting what you can do.
Right. When I first started seeing it, so I would get messages from people when I first came and put out some videos, and they're like, oh, I did stem cells. It didn't work for me. Oh, I did this place in Nashville in Texas or whatever. And I'm like, no, what we did's only, you know, out of the States. Unfortunately, it's not FDA approved or whatever. And I started passing this stuff along to Ed and asking Ed some questions. At the time, I was like, I don't know what to say. Like, how is it not the same thing? And anyway, and I don't technically know all the details, but what I do know is, one, it's not the same thing. Two, it's like 1,000 times more effective. What you guys are doing here than, like,
I mean, we'll see. We're about to publish all this data. You know, that's one of the things that, you know, these places, I got into a little internet beef with a guy and I was like, where's your MRIs? You know, I got like over 1,000 patients before and after MRIs. Right. What do you got?
Right. But plus it's also the fact that, I mean, it also makes sense. The fact that you're probably getting some stem cells, mainly, you know, dirty ones or not great ones, or I don't know the technical terms, but let's say they're taking it from your blood or from something. And but what you guys are, what do you call it? You replicate, or what do you,
expand?
You're expanding, you're taking the cream of the crop, the best of the best, not, you know, 60% bad ones and some good. And then you're expanding them to the point where, if I remember correctly, like these places, if I go to Nashville or Texas or whatever, let's say I'm getting, you know, whatever, 100,000 stem cells, maybe 60,000 are good. Whereas I just got,
it's highly unlikely you're even getting that many.
Yeah. See, and I just got 100 million.
Yeah.
Or today I'm getting in the IV, 100 million of the cream of the crop, the best stem
viable.
cells.
We know they're all alive.
Yeah.
You know,
so let's do that math.
You know,
60,000 versus 100 million.
Every batch of our cells gets tested 6 times before it makes it to a patient.
It's amazing. Yeah.
You know, and
proof's in the pudding.
But in-house, 3 times in-house and 3 times third party. Right. Okay. That's how sometimes people think, oh, down in Mexico, there's no regulation or anything. I would argue right now with stem cells, there's more regulation in Mexico because it's wild, wild west. I see these places saying, I had this this unfortunate patient. I don't know. I told this on the podcast, but I feel so bad for this guy. I'm telling it again. He was in Los Angeles. He paid $25,000. They told him, he gave him 1 billion stem cells with a B, billion.
Okay.
And I'm like, how many gallons of IV did they put into you? And he's like, well, I got the IV. The whole thing was done in 2 hours. And I'm like, I just said, man, there's no way. He goes, oh, I know. He goes, I felt better for about a month. He goes, I don't even know if that was placebo, but after the month, I was right back to where I was. It's like, there's no way you could do 1 billion IV stem cells and feel the same,
Right.
Our patients do 100, 150 million. And a month later, they're like, wow, So you did 1 billion of them. But yeah, I see these misleading ads all the time.
Yeah.
You don't have to leave the country. We got the same stuff as CPI. There's some of them even just trash.
Yeah.
But that just means we're doing the right thing. And
it's impossible.
It's like, and exosomes are not the same thing as stem cells.
Right.
Not that they're bad, but also places, that I notice they'll say 100 million cells, right? So it won't say stem cells. It just say cells, right? So some of them are stem cells, some of them are some other cells, and maybe they're good cells, maybe they're bad cells. We don't know what that means, but
yeah.
Well, hopefully things are going to change, in the US and stuff. And it just gives stem cells a bad name. Like you're saying, people would say, oh, I tried that before.
And it doesn't work.
Well,
Yeah, that's exactly. It's giving stem cells a bad name. So I always refer them. No, you got to do the real thing. And that's what's great about you guys is you guys are so open with your communication, your information. And that's why, you have an amazing sales team. A shout out to Ian and Eli, who've been, good friends of mine who really helped me out, as your sales force. But they always answer, they're always there to answer questions, to get connected to the doctors to answer questions. And I think that's really big too, because it is a big step for people. It's a big price point. It's a big thing to fly to Tijuana. It's a big journey. And a lot of people are very scared about it. And so the fact you guys are so open to, hey, we're going to answer questions, communicate, help you each step of the way. That's the biggest barrier to entry. All the people that write me, I'm like, hey, just talk to them. Talk to them. That's free. Ask some questions. If you're a real candidate and this is right for you and it'll help, they will tell you. And if it won't, they will tell you. Then,
well, yeah, that's right. My intake doctors, they're under strict guidelines of do not bring anybody in unless you really think we can help them. Mm-hmm. It's pointless, especially as we've been doing this data collection. There's the value in getting 1 or 2 extra patients compared to the overall value of what that data can create. It's silly. Yeah. That's why, there's plenty of places we could cut corners. I know other places, do, but like it makes no sense for what our long-term vision, what our long-term goal, of getting these stem cells approved in the United States, proving we think we have the best product and how we do our system, is the best. And so I don't know how you could compare, anything to where you're just going to go for a day and you're going to get healthy in a day, coming here and doing our entire protocol for a week.
Yeah.
Like there's no way.
No comparison. So,
so our adjunct therapies, our extra therapies that we do, like we've seen what they do for stage 4 cancer patients. For a relatively healthy, normal person, it's going to do even more, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's good. The health week is there. So, yeah. Well, man, tell us, I've learned so much recently a little bit about you. One of the things about hanging out over at Ed Clay's East Ivy Mansion is you never know who you're going to meet, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I all the time, I'm always like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know you were a child star. I didn't know you lived in the Playboy Mansion. I didn't know that you dated former, what was it, Miss Switzerland,
all that's how me and Richie met. That's my producing partner.
Yeah. Talk a little about your producing, what you guys got going on. Yeah, Miss America for sure.
Oh, yeah. I'll give it's kind of a fun circle, the whole 360. Weird how life can work. I met Richie Walls, my producing partner. About 20 years ago. I was dating Miss Switzerland and he was representing her at the time. And so we became kind of buddies, but it was more like acquaintances. We weren't that close. And I just would always see him throughout the years. And I was just doing acting full time. So full-time acting, and, we can get into some details about that, but a bunch of shows that people, I started with a lot of kid shows like Zoe 101, Secret Life. I was on MTV's Awkward for a while, like these kind of kid teen shows, and then kind of more adult things. Dexter's a popular one. Dexter, American Sniper, that won an Academy Award. So at this point, I'm kind of like, was always that face. It's like, oh, I recognize you from somewhere, but it wasn't like the household name. But I was just trying to make a living doing it, and did it, and was making a good living doing it, doing over 50 TV shows, 50 movies, and it was just my daily grind. So that was just my career, my job. And really it starts to feel like that. It's not like, oh, acting. It's like, it's my 9 to 5. Like I'm just punching the time card and doing my thing. But after a time, I actually wanted to get out of the business. That's why I moved to Nashville. I moved to Nashville to get out of the entertainment business. I just saw it going downhill. I saw LA was a mess politically, financially, like prices up, homeless everywhere, crime going through the roof. I was like, I'm out of here. I'm just done. And I really thought by leaving LA, I was leaving the business. So I moved to Nashville because I have a military tech company here, or there. I feel like I'm still there. I'm in Tijuana. But in Nashville, have tech company, engineering firm, a handful of other businesses. So I just kind of became more of an entrepreneur, helped start Operation Light Shine, anti-human trafficking, child exploitation. That's kind of more from my political background, which I also used to do speech writing for the presidential elections because of my philosophy background. But anyway, so kind of dabbling all over the place. And that was really tough for me because over 10 years of acting classes, that was my only career. That was my job. And to just one day just go cold turkey, I'm gone. My life completely reset. And I was like, all right, I just started focusing on the businesses, and Richie had moved out there like a year prior. And again, we were friends, but like acquaintances. And I was like, hey man, like I moved to Nashville, like let's hang out. And we started hanging out again, like more closely. And we were always like, yeah, we should produce, because Richie was producing some films at the time. And I was like, yeah. It's one of those things, you're out drinking with the boys. It's like, yeah, let's work together. But nothing ever came of it. We never really did anything with it until at one point it was just the time felt right. And I was like, okay, I'll produce something. Like I'll get back in the saddle. And, just from years of being in front of the camera, I would dabble in directing, producing. Like I just started getting involved in all aspects of the business and learning from the best of the best on some of these sets. And so I was like, yeah, I can contribute. And we started doing it, and it just took off. Really, so what we wanted to do, and I'll make this really short and simple, but the business before, part of why I left is it's evolving so much, and in some ways for the worse and the wrong directions. But I was like, okay, we can't go against the current. We can't contradict what's going on, because that's how you lose. You get left out to dry. I was like, we got to swim with the current, with the way that the business is evolving. And a lot of parts of it business wise is, in the past, you had your big agencies, your management companies, your production companies, and you picked your lane. You were the best at that lane, and you tried to thrive there. It's not like that anymore. I was like, let's do everything. Let's not just pick one lane. Let's do everything and dabble all these things. And as we get momentum, they'll start ping-ponging and helping the other verticals get momentum. And that's literally what started happening. I mean, we represent actors, models, influencers on a talent management and development side. We produce films. We've now done, in this year and a half, almost 2 years now, we've done over 12 films, probably over $300 million budgets worth of films. And then as that gets traction, then we have the casting arm. We cast projects. We do casting for Vice and all these different companies now. So then we help with casting, and now with financing. And so we just started doing everything, and everyone's like, how do you do everything? And really, as long as you have the right team, the right vision, and our team's expanding now, and it does get difficult at times. I mean, there's only so much time in a day, but they do all piggyback on each other. And now I'm thinking, how did anyone do it any other way before? And we're the only company doing this. But even with our management side, like I coach our actors. I've been doing acting my whole life. Now I can coach the actors. I can help develop them. And I know exactly what they're right for, what they're not ready for. So when we're getting them in rooms for these movies, commercials, TV shows, I know what they're not right for. Like, no, don't put them. They're not ready for that or whatever it is. And I'm thinking back, every other manager or rep I've ever had, they didn't know anything about acting. They never saw me act. How did they know what I was right for, what I wasn't right for, what I was actually getting better at? Like, they don't have their finger on the pulse of that at all. And we do. So it's weird from a business standpoint, looking at the entertainment industry from the outside looking in. I'm like, how does anybody do it any other way? But we're the only ones doing it this way. And I think that's why we have so much success in what we're doing right now.
Man, I see so many parallels to what we've done down here.
Really? Oh, I believe.
Well, yeah, because
you changed the game.
TAM Center's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a need and a want to really do it excellent, right? To be excellent at what you're doing. And we've brought so many things in house, so we used to not compound all of our drugs and all of our stuff. And then we just struggled on getting quality and consistency or on time or whatever it is. It's like, okay, we got to find our own compound pharmacist, we got to get the best one we can find, and we got to open our, so you guys did the same, same sort of thing. And,
you got take the lead, do it yourself. If you want the best of the best, try to do it yourself. And yeah, I've seen that with you guys. I mean, you guys have the highest quality product, and I see, I'm always with Ed when he's nerding out about that stuff. And it's like, oh, you guys really care. You don't want to, you really aren't cutting corners. And
I mean, you're never going to meet anybody that's more obsessed with excellence than Ed.
Yes.
I'm
not a bullshitter. Like, I wouldn't be pushing you guys as much as I am. And that's where, like, I don't like to bullshit or sell. That's where I don't like with a lot of things. If I have to, like, have a sponsor or something I don't like, I don't want to push it. But with you guys, like, I push it because I see it, and you guys really give a shit, and you guys really do, like, push for the best of the best. And I really respect
I just have the privilege of, going behind that fearless leader and, being there when he needs a push, what I mean? Cause
that's needed too.
That guy, his photographic memory, the way he can,
Yeah. No, he's killing it.
Yeah.
So
way a bar way above where I am.
I know. No, you're doing the damn thing too. But yeah, so that's kind of how we're approaching the business. And then it's just kind of cool. It came full circle. We've been working on getting more involved in some of these legacy brands. Like, it started with, like, Playboy's a legacy brand. We worked with, and like Richie repped a lot of those girls back in the day. And I grew up with the family. I did live in the mansion when I first moved out of my mom's house. I was friends with, like, Hugh Hefner's kids. And so it was just kind of like my aunt was friends with his ex-wife, and my uncle was friends with Hugh. And so it just kind of was in the family. And I always thought it'd be cool to be more involved as Hugh passed away and everything was evolving or devolving in a lot of ways, and the business was struggling. I was like, what if we took over some of these legacy brands and just brought them back to what made them legendary and bring them to the next level of where we are now, timeline wise. And so we've been working on that, and it finally pulled through with Miss USA, which is a very prestigious brand, and it's an amazing brand. And it's kind of cool to think, Trump owned it, then the biggest agency in the world, WME, owned it. William Morris.
Yeah.
And now we do.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a crazy thing, but it's one of those legacy brands that, keeping up with the times, it has kind of fallen off track. And that's how we got the opportunity to even be involved. And now the team behind it and the vision behind it is amazing. It's to not only bring it back to its legendary form, but to elevate it, bring it to the next level. And it is something that has a rabid audience, and and it's something that's changed a lot of lives, to see what it's done for a lot of these women, in the sense of it's a springboard that's made their careers, that's made their lives, and to bring it back to that, to where, it's something that these young girls and women, because we have Miss Teen USA and Miss USA, can utilize it to change their lives. And we're seeing it. The proof's in the pudding. And now that it's back to that, more and more of these women are like, oh, like, it's back on track. That's something I look up to. That's something I want to strive for. Or those are women I look up to. Those are women I want to strive for. Because it's not just, oh, are you a pretty face? It's also like, what's your character inside too? What are you doing to make an impact on this planet? What are your business goals? Half of them are entrepreneurs now. Now we can get behind them and help them propel their business there too. And we're also tying in the talent side with our agency, with our management company, Scene Entertainment. And which is weird because WME, the largest agency in the world, owned it. They did nothing with the talent. So they were a springboard to catapult these women, and then just, all right, go off. Like, no, springboard them and stay involved.
Sign them, and they were they did not represent.
You're leaving money on the table, but it's money for both sides,
right? Yeah.
And so now we can represent all these girls, help, and we're they'll be the cover of Ralph Lauren, and whatever Versace. Like, we're getting all these legacy, fashion brands involved as well, getting these girls on the covers, and making it really something big and prestigious again. And so that's what we're doing with it, and we're just starting that journey, but we're very excited about it.
Yeah, this is brand new, right?
Yeah, but brand new.
And the first one's coming up.
Yep. It's in a week and a half.
Wow, that's right here.
Really coming up.
Yeah.
So we have been scrambling.
I bet. Yeah. Man. Well, you just glossed over this, but you can't. You grew up at the mansion. Well, that had been wild.
Yeah. I mean, I was about 16 at the time, but it is a wild. I mean, my life's been a wild journey. Because
clearly,
it's weird. I've been on all sides of it, in the sense of grew up with a single handicapped mother, off of $0, so I was poor as hell. So I grew up very broke. But then my aunt married Berry Gordy, who started Motown Records. Oh. And so then I kind of was part of that family.
They were mom's sister?
My dad's sister.
Dad's sister, okay.
And so I was kind of in this weird place growing up, where I think honestly it really helped me kind of get along with or fit into any sort of crowd, in the sense of, I grew up fighting gangs and literally fighting weapons, crazy shit. That was part of my life. And then Playboy Mansion, Berry Gordy, living the high life in mansions when I got to stay over there. So, coming from one side of LA to the complete opposite side of LA, and getting along with people on all sides. So it kind of helped shape me for the future in a lot of weird ways. And so I think that's a large part of kind of why maybe my business life is so damn diverse, and I'm involved in so many weird things. Because I grew up in that life.
Oh yeah, just having that opportunity of meeting so many different people and connecting with them, and
very different groups. It's very different groups.
That I also kind of grew up with a random life like that. Mine was mostly all over the world. But that's
with like your jujitsu and
even before jujitsu. Oh, really? My family, we traveled. I went to 17 schools before I graduated from high school on multiple continents. No, gypsies.
Gypsies.
Yeah, pretty much gypsies.
Okay. That's where you get your wild side.
Yes, my parents grew up in small towns and wanted to go see the world.
Yeah.
And so they packed up their kids and they did it. So you got to respect them for that.
Adventure. Yeah. Life. Hey, we got to adventure a little bit.
Hey, how else am I going to live in Tijuana for 11 years?
Yeah.
And hey, I haven't been beheaded once. Not yet.
Not even once.
Or kidnapped, almost kidnapped in Pakistan once, but that's a whole different story. Down here in TJ has been absolutely fine. So.
Yeah. No, that's great. And I respect all that too. And then I know you have the fight background, and honestly, that's a big part of, back to the health stuff. What's been great with me is I'm just able to start, because I used to compete when I was younger, amateur fight. And my specialty was more stand up. Jiu-jitsu is not, I mean, I'm okay, but nowhere near you guys' level. But my stand up's decent. So that was more my focus. But even the twisting I love boxing, and a lot of the throwing into the, punches, and I just couldn't do it anymore.
There's a lot of low back.
Yeah. My back was screwed. Right. I had a lot of, strained bicep, a lot of like tendonitis in here. I think that's from boxing too. And so I actually got stem cells shot into here as well, and started doing like peptides, BPC 157, TD 500, and world of difference.
Great.
And now with the lower back, with the stem cells, starting to work legs again lightly, but getting my legs moving again, boxing a little bit again. It feels great. I'm finally moving again. So obviously I'm not here to compete now. I'm almost 40 years old, but just to keep my body moving. It's all about longevity at this point, and living a high standard,
There's something about when you've been in pain for so long. So I get that all the time. People are like, are you going to do jujitsu anymore? Are you going to compete? And I'm like, fuck no.
Right back into it.
What for? Like I was talking to some jujitsu guys that are here this week, and they're asking me, everyone asked me that, and I was just like, unless you're paying me a ton of money, like I can't remember a time in my life being like completely pain free. Maybe when I was a tiny little kid, but snowboarding, skateboarding, 6 motorcycle wrecks, just grew up too much testosterone, not enough judgment, and abused my body. When you're younger, everyone's like, oh, you're going to pay for that when you're older, like,
and you're like,
and now I just want to maintain this, health of just like you, like 11 years, I couldn't work out really for 11 years. I try to find things I could do in the gym, but it's hard when your low back is just killing you.
Yeah. It's terrible.
I don't know about you, but I was always scared that, cause I never really could pinpoint what exactly was going to make it flare up. So you're always like, oh, okay. Can I do this or not? There's always that fear.
Absolutely true. And and even the most simple, like leg or lower back exercises, I try to have perfect form with like 100th the weight I would like normally want to throw around. And no, I'm still next day totally.
Well, you'll be able to move that up, Yeah. My physical therapist was like, you could. I was asking him about doing some like light deadlifting and squats, and this was probably a year ago. And he's like, I think you'd be good, just take it easy, It took me like a year before I was even comfortable to try. I started working out with a trainer, and I was like, okay, check, like you said, my form and everything. And I'm not trying to throw around heavy weight, but just to be able to do those movements again, I never, ever thought ever.
I'll tell you the other big thing for me, functional movement. So that it's really growing. So when I grew up, it was like A to B movements, weightlifting, like that was like the thing. And you grow some muscle and all that, but as we get older, like that's not very functional movement or muscles. And so I'm very big on functional movements, functional weight training now, and it's growing. Like there's all these Instagram pages and stuff. We're talking like not like A to B movements, but like weird movements. Get away and grab this, and you're squeezing and pulling, like just these weird things where you're contorting your body or moving your body in ways that you don't normally do it. And so now I'm big on just training all my muscles on the weirdest movements. I'm getting sore as hell, and I'm able to do it. I'm strengthening all my core and all the weird movements that I'm not used to hitting. And so coupled with my back getting better, I feel like it's been the perfect training for me.
That's great. Yeah. For me, after because I tore my rotator cuff, I don't know if I ever do a pull-up again, I finally it was about a month ago, worked my way up. I'm like, oh, I did 20 pull-ups in a row.
That's great.
I can't do it every day, but I got to work my way up to it. But I can do pull-ups every day, right?
Yeah.
And because I used to do a lot of CrossFit and stuff. So I used to do tons of, pull-ups, muscle ups, those. And it's the little things that we get back in life, right? It's just these little things we're
just increasing our standard of
living.
living.
I can do pull-ups and not be in pain for days.
Yeah. No, seriously. Yeah. So that's thanks to CPI.
Hey. Well, all right, man. Plug anything you need to plug over here. Definitely Miss America here. I try to go.
So keep along the journey. Just like Instagram or whatever. My @Brando Eaton, just my name. Then there's our company, Scene Entertainment, SEEN Entertainment. We have a bunch of movies coming out, premieres. I'll plug that real fast. We just wrapped one with Mark Wahlberg. We got one coming out now with Kevin James, Alan Ritchson. We got another one coming out in theaters with Kevin James, a rom-com. Anyway, so we're keeping busy on that front. A lot of great movies coming out in 2026. And then Miss USA, all that. So, we're keeping busy. And so,
are you allowed to journey with the Mark Wahlberg? I like
What's that?
Mark, I used to live in Boston, like around, his whole kind of thing. So,
I'll tell you that one real fast. It's actually amazing. It's a true story behind Greg Scarpa, who, gangster, he was a hitman for the Italian mob, took over the Colombo family, Gambino. I always forget. I get them mixed up, but took over the family business, and then ended up working with the FBI, doing stuff secretly that they couldn't do, and some dark stuff like torturing people, like killing a lot of people. I think he had like over 50 confirmed murders when they finally had to put him away. He died in prison. His son took over the business. His son also did some things, was put away for life, but he just recently got out on good behavior / some other stuff, like, finding some terrorist attacks and ratting some stuff out. Anyway, he's out of prison now, just got out. We did a movie with him. So he's, he was on set with us. It was a wild journey.
Yeah.
And, the movie is turning out amazing. Mark Wahlberg plays Greg Scarpa. he just fully got into the character. We got the he looks like him, like with the prosthetics. We got a bigger nose on him, bigger chin, and Wahlberg's loving it. He's like, dude, this movie, he's so behind it. He's all excited. He just flew out in his jet to go see the director's cut, and he's really behind it. So he's like,
nice.
And so to have his support too, like beyond what's like contractually needed, he's like fully behind it. And it's going to be a wild ride. I'll show you the trailer privately at some point.
Yeah,
but
I love to see it.
Yeah.
I don't go to the movies much these days because I think most of the movies suck.
They do.
But
most
good,
of them
you know,
do.
yeah, because it's just rinse and repeat, you know, like I don't need to see any comic book movies. I don't need to see any remakes of a movie that I already saw, you know, before. So I love it that it's something like, you know, brand new, you know.
Yeah, we're all excited about it.
Success.
And you're right. I stopped watching. Yeah, and that's part of why I got out of the business. I was just like,
That's why I didn't recognize you from TV too. I think I got rid of my TV in 1999, 98 or something like that.
Blame you.
I haven't had a TV. I just watch like YouTube. You know what I mean? That's it. So,
I know, and that's the kids nowadays too.
Yeah, I don't watch. You know, I have this huge like cultural gap. Plus, I lived in Brazil for 3 years, so like, you know, I was really checked out of what was going on in America for 3 years. And so
whatever, you're living life.
Hey, I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, check them out. They're coming out. It'll be fun stuff. And just come along the journey. Come follow them. Check us out.
Well, let's go get you some more stem cells.
Let's do it.